I love how I'm telling you how easy this is to use and I can't even get it to work.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
Oh, so thank you so much for being on here this morning.
You bet.
You got a busy week behind you and a busy week to come. So
Well, I've got Selena.
I know, that's so exciting.
Selena Reedon?
Selena Ridian.
Riedian.
Yes.
Okay. I'll try to get that right.
She's still gonna laugh because I suck at saying her name.
Yeah, I think we all do, eh? We don't have that special accent that she has.
I know. Yeah, but she'll have to teach you some funny Swedish stuff. So.
Oh no.
Yeah, all the bad stuff.
I was gonna say.
That's exciting. So she comes in tonight?
Yeah, she's flying in tonight and then she'll get a good night rest and then we'll shoot a video Friday.
Cool. That'll be fun.
Looking forward to it.
Very cool. So I'm really excited that you're on the podcast and thanks for doing it via video. Everyone loves to see who I interview. So this is fun.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk to you for a while now. And I know we've kind of seen each other at trade shows. We've never actually gotten a chance to sit down and talk. Yeah. And hopefully we're going to be able to do that in Orlando or Vegas, either one. I'd love to actually sit down and hang out. Yeah, I'm going to be working Orlando and Vegas. So we'll have to find some time to, grab a drink or hang out for a bit and chat. I think it'd be fun.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah. And it's funny because my family, so I used to live in Vancouver when I was a kid and my grandmother actually used to live on the island in Qualicum. So my whole family is Canadian except for me. I'm the first kid to be born in the US.
Really? That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. So my parents are from the prairies and then we lived in Vancouver when I was a kid. And then my grandmother lived on the island for a long time. She lives in Saskatchewan now. So.
Oh, that's really small world, right?
Very small world. So, so that'll be fun. So I wanted to talk to you about what you do, because I think you've gotten very well known for one piece of what you've done, which is YouTube.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to have a chance to sit down with you and ask you a little bit more about your story, because I think people immediately see nail career education on YouTube and they get a certain idea, which is what you've done there is amazing. Yeah. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about how did you get started in the nail industry? How did this whole thing start for you?
Yeah. Going back as a nail technician, you mean?
Yeah. What was the first introduction or experience you had with the nail industry?
Okay. So my first experience with nails, I was getting married at 18 and I thought it would look cool to have some longer nails. So I went to the store and got some fake ones and put them on and filed them and thought they looked pretty good. Actually, they were kind of crappy, but I didn't know nothing about it.
Right.
So then, 5 years later, I had no idea there was an industry for sculpting nails onto the nail and you go every month and I had no idea. So I saw an ad in the paper and that's how we sought ads back then. And looking for a job was in the paper.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw the job in the paper. So I went and she interviewed me and out of 300 girls, she hired me. And the next day she brings me back and I put a set of nails on. That's where my first introduction to sculpting nails. I had no idea. So it was just an industry that was just wow, really it was a baby industry. Nobody did it. Right. It was just a little pocket salon. It was the first only nail salon in Victoria. And that was mid 80s. And so she trained me and it was literally a 2-week kind of on the job. And then she pushed me out into I was always on the floor. And she just said, okay, do it on your own now. Just
sink or swim.
Yeah.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. And then how did you end up, evolving in your career? What was the next step for you? I mean, did you work as a nail tech for a certain period of time before you started doing other things or?
Yeah, I did. I was lucky enough that my husband was in his line of work and it made enough money that I could, do nails and not make any, because let's face it, doing it for art, doing it for fun. It's like a musician or an artist. It's your passion that pays you.
That's true. That's very true.
It pays you with smiles and happiness, not money. So I did that for, 30 years. And obviously I was, a couple of companies over the years did ask me to, because they could see that I did have some talent for nails and they're always looking for good people to promote their product naturally. Right. So on that note, they did ask me if I would travel around to do that. I was raising kids at that time. So I was 18 when I got married. I didn't have kids till I was 28, but I was well into the nail field by then, a good 5 years. And I own my own salon and stuff. And I had salon about 8 years before I had kids. So then kids became the passion, but nails was a good income. So I stayed with the income, and I did it with the kids. And I moved a really beautiful business that I had 8 years downtown Victoria, which was the second only nail salon. And then I moved it to my house, which was really far away at the time. Now with, progress, everything's joined so much closer. But and I did that at home for 17 years until I opened up the salon when I started the YouTube channel at the same time. And the only reason why I started the YouTube channel, to be honest with you, was just to, I had a local school here that I was kind of competing with. And I felt every time, I wasn't in a downtown location with the big storefront. It was in my house doing nails. The education was really top notch, but the location didn't look like it. So I thought opening a salon would be more, my kids are grown now. It's time for mommy to do something that she likes, which is a salon. And I really love the whole day-to-day managing of a salon. And honestly, I probably love decorating it more. So that was probably a big part of my drive. So I thought if I get an advantage over the other school, one advantage is when they meet me, they usually, 99% they sign up, but they got to meet me first. And because I was so out there, it was hard to find me.
Oh, okay.
So my husband said, well, hey, I'll do a video for you. And so he did, and it's his profession. And he didn't know where to put it. He said, well, if I put it on your website, nobody's going to see it. So why don't we put it up on YouTube? And okay, I didn't know anything about YouTube. And so he put it up on there, and it just started to gain some traction. And people were commenting on it. And I'm like, oh, that's great. But I haven't got any new students, so what's it doing? And then I felt the frustration for the person who was commenting on my videos. Like, where did you get that product from? What knowledge you do? Can you tell me this? Can you tell me that? And I'm like, that's such an involved answer. It's like, why are my nails lifting? As you know, as a tech, you can't, that's not a one answer. There are many reasons why it might be lifting. So it was a little frustrating for me, and trying to help them figure out who they could buy the product from was also frustrating, because you have to be a licensed nail tech, especially in different areas. It's really, really strict. So I felt frustrated for them because I couldn't give them the answers that I so desperately wanted to give them. And the answers was just kind of dead. Where do you get that product? At my distribution store. I mean, So it was it just started to gain more traction and more traction. And then I realized that I'm thinking so small and I still do my school here locally and I love it, but I'm thinking small in the sense I can help these people. Just answer the question. So I started spending a lot of time answering questions, and of course more. And then I realized, let's do a video on that, because so many people ask questions. And then it just kind of snowballed into this, and having 30 some years behind me certainly does help.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It just took off. And
that's so cool.
I'm ever grateful. It's so much fun. I'm having a blast doing it.
Well, and I think that's a very good kind of testament to online education, because I know a lot of people in our industry are very hesitant to do online education, and people have a lot of, strong opinions about online education.
Honestly, Elizabeth, I did not know that until I went to a show in Vegas a couple of years ago. I started getting back into the circuit. I hadn't been into a show for like 20 years.
Right.
So I went into a show and somebody was teaching about drilling and stuff, or e-filing now. They call it the e-file.
Right.
And so I popped in there and I thought, there's always something to learn. If you walk into a seminar and somebody's teaching, you might pick up one tip. It could be the tip that's like, oh, that really changes that.
The little golden nugget.
Yeah. So I sat in on the class and I was watching, and it was really cool to watch this demonstration by this person. And then somebody says, oh, well, do you have any YouTube, or do you have any videos? And he just looked at them and like, why would I do that? Why would I give my information for free? And I'm like, and some people in the audience was watching him as well, picking up tips, and they recognized me, and they kind of little wave, which is really cute because it's his thing, right? And so I just feel like uncomfortable. I just kind of back to
You're like, okay, I'll just hide and go away now.
Doing that, and he didn't like that. So that's where I learned that, some people really don't appreciate this, and I respect that. I totally respect that.
Yeah, and I think that's everyone's individual choice, but I'm glad you're doing it because, like you said, your whole goal started with reaching people in your local community, but then you started to see globally, right, across everywhere, people need help, people have questions, and I think that's so amazing to answer those questions and actually give people a helping hand.
Yeah. And I read them all the time, and it gives me ideas for what are they having most trouble with. And I think I was trying to figure out, why does anybody care what a 53-year-old lady from Victoria thinks about nails? But what I learned was what I think I'm learning when I went down to the show, I learned from a lot of people that I don't think a lot of people are actually forming and sculpting. A lot of people are just putting tips on,
Yeah.
which there's nothing wrong with tips if it's built out properly, but
Right.
sometimes the tip allows you not to build out properly,
Right.
or, think you can't build it properly. So the illusion is sometimes when you use a tip that it's not as good a nail, and it doesn't have to be not a good a nail. It's just because they're not building it properly. But the education is so lacking, and that's crucially what I learned. And that's why it sort of now it answers my questions: is why did my channel blow up so big? Is I just learned because I'm showing them that how nails could and should be if it's built up. Everybody has the potential to do it. They just need the knowledge, and I feel bad for techs who are not building it that way, because it's not because they're trying to annoy us as a client. They're not trying to do a bad job. It's the lack of knowledge and education that they just desperately need and they don't have. So
I
now
totally
it's at
agree.
their fingertips. And so I'm trying to give that information as much as I can on YouTube and other social media things. So that's what I've learned. That's why it propelled so fast, because they just desperately need questions answered because they genuinely want that information.
Oh yeah. Well, and I think the other thing too that I've noticed about your channel that is different is I see lots of channels and lots of information out there. And I think the other thing that's really great about what you've done is you've created almost like a tranquil environment for people to belong to. And so you've really created a sense of community with your channel, which I think is also really important for people that are trying to disseminate that type of information. It's not just about here are the facts, writing a little response to people. It's really about creating that sense of belonging and friendship and relationship, across the internet, right? I think that's pretty cool.
It is. And the reason why I do that too, and it wasn't set out to, like, I didn't say, okay, this is how I need to look, and this is how I just look this way. This is it. This is all I got. So I can't pretend to be anything different. But when I found that I'm teaching people, I mean, as you know, as a nail technician, you just sort of, you talk to clients, you keep your head down, and you just do the best job you can.
Right.
But being as personable to that person, that's the interaction that makes your business grow. Yes, they're looking for good work, but they also want to sit down with somebody that they relate to on some kind of level. Yeah. Whether they just like your hair, or they just like the environment, or they just think you're funny, or they really like you, or they just a little like you, doesn't matter. They just have to find something about you that they like. And that really is 50% of the issue. And I always say to my students, it's 50% how nice you are and you're relatable, and 50% how good you are at nails. But you have to be 100% good at both of those things. Yeah. And that's what's really important. So I've met a lot of techs that are really good at what they do, but they're not very personable. And it's not to say that they have to be fake about it. They just, maybe they're a little bit more introverted, and they'll find clients that they'll relate to. And then I've met some clients that are super friendly and super sweet, but they're not really that great. So we all have that thing. We still hone in on becoming a little bit more conversational, and it's hard to do when you're focusing on trying to make this nail so perfect, to try to also
have a conversation,
be really engaged genuinely, because it's easier over tea than it is over trying to create. And sometimes when they express, they're getting more tense, and you're trying to do the, so there's a lot to it. And unless you're a tech, you don't really realize that. So I try to create an environment that when they come, even in my school, I even set the rules. This first thing I do when I open up the floor, I say, hey, everybody. And it's very casual. I said, look, I just want to talk to you about the rules. Number one rule, there really aren't any rules. Because I want them to feel relaxed and comfortable. This is not, like sergeant. They're here because they want to be. It's not like a school where I'm, hey, kids, get in your seat. They want to be there. They paid good money to be there. They've taken the time to be there. So they're like all attention. So I just make it really casual and friendly, and make it open so that when they have to ask a question, just like when you were in school, when you're a kid, like, oh my God, I want to ask this question, but it sounds so stupid. Is anybody else thinking this question? I can't, like, am I going to look so, you know what? Just ask the question. But it's easier to say that. We need to make them feel relaxed so that they feel comfortable. So when they ask that question, we don't all turn around and go, did she just say that? We just had to be comfortable that we can ask any question.
Yeah, because that's how it all starts. And I mean, I've been in classes before where people ask very basic questions, and there is kind of that element of, oh my gosh, like that was a dumb question. It's really not a dumb question, because half the time it opens up this whole thing about, oh my God, that little golden nugget of information, like you were talking about, might come out at that moment.
Yeah.
And usually if one person has a question, there's at least another person or handful of people that have the same exact question. They're just afraid to ask it.
I agree. And what I say to them, if you're asking the question, it's not a stupid question. It may fall on me that I haven't taught you that yet. Or
True.
line, you didn't pick up on what I meant by that, because we all learn so different. Some people learn very auditorily, some people learn just very visual, some people are more sense, they need to touch. So we all absorb information differently. So if that student didn't get that and she had to ask that question, I sort of look at that as a reflection of me. It's like, okay, that's pretty basic, and I really didn't explain that to her good enough.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I break that down a little bit better. So
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so true. Now for you, what would you say? So this year, and you know, everyone I've been talking to this year for me has been kind of about, okay, like what are we doing in our industry, right? And you and I actually were both featured in the Nails magazine, 35 People That Have Changed the Nail Industry, which amazing, congratulations.
You too.
I was like, what the heck? I was like, what are you talking about? So that was amazing. And it made me think about, like, what are we doing in our industry, right? So, you know, by chance, same thing as you, by chance, I started a random podcast. My husband gave me a microphone and was like, here, you're going to record all your thoughts and feelings. I'm like,
husbands are behind us.
Yeah, they're pushing. So, you know, it's kind of one of those things. I think some things happen by chance, and then pretty soon you wind up and you're like, okay, so what am I doing with this? What's my goal? So what's kind of your goal? What's the mark you want to leave on the industry? What's kind of, you know, where you are right now, and what you'd like to achieve for yourself and other nail technicians?
Yeah. And, you know, I had to really think about that, because honestly, when I set out to do this, if somebody said to me, hey, I'm going to make you a big YouTube for nails sensation, I would have been, no, I'm not your girl. I'll get behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't signed up for that. Not that I say that I don't like it or love it in any way. It's just, I didn't know anything about it. I had no idea. So here I am in this situation, which is so much fun, and I'm so grateful. And so I have to, you know, because I never thought of getting this far. I never thought of having to answer that question.
Right. No, it's same. I agree. It's a weird situation to be in.
Yeah. But I would have to say the mark that the most important thing that I'm trying to get across is that all the information should be available to everybody.
I love that.
Yeah, I think that, and that's what my channel does. And the new generation is different. We're doing that with music. My whole family's musicians, and that's very different. Music is a very different platform, and I don't think the arts, and we fall into the arts. That's what we do. Artists, we're nail artists. We're not musicians, we're not painters, but we are nail artists. It's just this different category of art, and it does fall into that category. So for me, I just want to be able to, that nail technician who's frustrated and she can't get that information that is either paid for or they're looking for, I want to make that easier available so they can sit at the nail table and their clients can be happier with the end result.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I agree with you about the availability of information. I feel like a lot of the stuff in our industry is held very secret. People are holding their cards really close to their chest. And I don't know about you, but I've never felt that sharing information is somehow giving my competition the upper hand. I always look at it as, you're never going to be me, just like artists, right? You can copy my paintings, but you're never really going to be me. Yeah. So I'd rather help people and see where they can take it than, you know, no, I'm not going to tell you anything. That's my little trade secret. That is the secret to my success.
Yeah. It's sort of like the mom, when she gives up her recipe to the daughter-in-law, she leaves the ingredients out. And you know what? Maybe it's a generational thing. You're obviously quite a bit younger than I am, but maybe it's a generational thing. So I would safely say that in my generation, they kind of did feel that you hang on to those trade secrets. So I kind of probably felt that way too. But then I started thinking, well, wait a second. I'm like 53. I'm only, how many years left have I got in me? If I don't pass this stuff on to somebody, you know, somebody's gonna be able to use it. And I also look at it this way, even if I was 33, when I build my clientele and I get going, I can only take so many women.
Oh, thank you for saying that. That's so true.
We have probably, let's say 300,000 people in downtown Victoria, down the island. Half of them are women. 75,000 of those are going to be ones that want nails. I can't take 75,000 people.
Right.
I can only take about max, maybe if I book full time, 6 days a week, every hour on the hour, I could probably take about 150 of those. Okay. If I'm going to be greedy, I'm going to hoard away 150 clients. So I have, like, where I'm located, I have 8 or 9 salons, nail salons around me. When I had a salon downtown 20 years ago, there was only a couple. I have 8. Literally, I could throw a stone at 8 of them. And people say, oh, you have a lot of competition in the area. Well, it's not like I'm in my football stadium. I'm only a salon that I have 4, 5, 6 girls. Each girl can only take about 100 clients. So we literally move about 400 or 500 women out in a month. Then that salon can do what they're doing, and that we all can share clientele. So that's sort of my thought behind the teaching is we can all be happy and do all of the ladies, all of the men who want their nails.
All of the ladies.
We can do all of them. So yeah, I can't hoard clients like that.
I love that.
Sharing information, and obviously I share it with my girls, and I've just spread it around. Well, I guess the world now with the YouTube channel, and I haven't got started yet. I mean, I just feel like I've been painting nails half the time, but I mean, I do sculpt a lot too. And sometimes I feel like it's maybe too much, but they really want that information. And so we're gonna get into it a bit more. And we're going to do some online live stuff training as well soon. So we've got a few things coming out 2018 that will hopefully make a bigger impact on those educational services that so many people need, that they can't fly out to Victoria to meet me or take a course or go down to the IBS show. So that's what I'm trying to reach everybody that I can.
I love that. I think that's amazing. And that a lot of what you said is exactly what I also try to preach, so that people realize that if we all hoard our secrets, we get nowhere, right? Yeah. So if everyone is successful, the whole industry is going to blossom. Everything's going to evolve and change and improve. And so I really am so excited to hear you say this. And I hope people really take this to heart, because it's a very, very important thing to think about, which is you can only fit so many people in your chair, and someone in, New York isn't really competing with you. So what does it matter if you share your trade secrets with them? And if we're all successful nail technicians and we're all profitable, it just helps the industry grow. Manufacturers can make more products. We can get new cool things going. I mean, the whole thing really starts to just be a snowball.
I think we should, it's not unlike music. It's like another music artist. We don't need any more music in the world. I mean, I can listen to your song and then I can listen to your song.
Yeah.
So, and as far as nails go, I can teach somebody everything that I need to know and make them as close to what I think is perfect that I'm trying to do. Nobody is perfect, no matter how hard you try, but they'll develop their own style, and they'll be Sally, they'll be Teresa. Oh, those are all old names. I'm old, but whatever the new names are, Allie and Elizabeth. I just hired 2 new girls, Allie and Elizabeth, and they're in their 20s. So I'm going to steal their names for this. But yeah, I just think that we develop our own style. I think we should even go even further. I think that the trade shows, as you know, some of the numbers are declining on trade shows, and that goes across the board in all the trade shows. I think we're missing the boat on not opening the door to people who are thinking about getting in the industry.
Yes.
So they can't purchase any stuff that's professional, if that's what they're trying to protect, but let them get in and get a taste of the industry. Let them get in to talk to people like you and I. Yeah. Let them to get in, go up and smell the stuff, see how the stuff works. Give them little sample stuff. I mean, they're not going to make, what are they going to do? Resell that? I mean, we need to, and then we would open the platform for schools to rent some of the space in the trade shows. It would just open up the whole industry to invite these people who want to get in this again, we're trying to protect this trade
secret society.
Yeah, I mean, if we do that, you will limit everything about that. Everything will be limited. If you're going to close the doors to some people, let's say, face it, the DIY market is huge.
Totally.
So open the doors. They could turn the trade show numbers around, and it might make it so the booths want to rent there more because they've got that information there that they can get in there and touch and see and feel.
I could not agree with you more. I mean, I started out, honestly, my career started out as a DIYer. I learned everything on YouTube. And it wasn't until I went to some rinky-dink nail school and was like, please license me so I can get into doing this professionally. I can buy all the amazing stuff. But I totally agree. I mean, channels on YouTube were things that really, really helped me out to understand the products. And I completely agree with you that if we opened this up a little bit more so that people could get a taste of it before they actually commit to beauty school, I think that is like the most genius thing ever. So I'm glad I have another person who agrees with me on that, because going back to the competition conversation, a lot of people are like, my license is what protects me and my job. And I'm thinking, no, it really doesn't. It's who you are, what kind of, clientele you're able to commit to, your conversations, your skill level, where you are, what you're doing. I mean, I just think we really need to, again, rethink what we're doing with this industry.
And I had a bit of taste of it, excuse me, in 1985, when I got into it, there was no licensing, and they worked so hard to try to get nail technicians involved in that licensing, since they did from the 60s. It was just hairdressers at the time. So they worked hard. And so in 1995, the licensing came through. Well, I had my salon by that time, by 10 years. So I'd gotten to know all the really bad salons and all the bad work, because clients would come in crying and they would have all this bad work. We'd have to fix it. And for years we did that. Yep. So when the licensing came in, I was like, oh, this is so fantastic. We're going to clean up the industry. And I'm going to, I'd love to be a part of this. We get a 1-800 number. We can phone up and say, is this nail technician any good? Has she had any complaints about her? Is she, and there'd be a little review on us all. And then it would just clean up. So I was so excited. So I went and did my exam, and I got my results. And of course I passed the thing. And then I was so excited. And all it did was, I just found out the people down the street that were doing such bad nails, they got one too. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, and then I was just mad. Because now we all have our licenses, but what does it really say? Apparently nothing. Yeah. So we were no better off. So 10 years after that, they got rid of it again. So I've been around when we had it, and I've been around when we didn't have it. And honestly, to me, when we have it, it looks like it's a false sense of, oh, they're good because we have this thing. But in the 10 years that I had it, not once, or in my whole entire career, not once has anybody ever asked, can I see your license?
Oh my gosh, yes. I love this.
Framed on the wall, and it looks really good.
Right. Look at it. Look, it's right here.
Yeah. No, you know why? Because their girlfriend didn't say, hey, go to the salon. This girl's really good. And don't forget to check her license.
Right.
Nobody said that. All they go is, look, finally I found somebody. Go to her. That's my license.
Oh my gosh, you're my new hero, Suzie. Seriously. Yay. This is so rewarding to actually talk to someone who, can see
so
things.
I didn't realize that some people didn't feel that way. I just didn't really talk about it because I don't know, nobody ever asked.
No, I agree. I mean, I never really realized how, I guess also when you start out, I'm kind of on the, the newer end of my career, right? But I feel like I've gotten exposed to a lot in the last 6 years. But same thing, I remember having these feelings about well, why is this so secretive? Why is this such a big deal? And then you get your license and you're like, I don't really feel any more prepared than I did before I had it. I'm still out on my own. I'm still having to go research stuff because I have no idea what any of this stuff is. And I think that's where a lot of this comes in. This is where, channels like Nail Career Education come in, and people in the industry who are willing to share their information is really so important, because whether you have licensing or not, it really comes down to the information that you can get for yourself, the communities that you belong to, and, just sharing things so we can all be successful. And I think that's what people are forgetting when they get on this heated debate about, do you have a license or do you not have a license?
Yeah. Because of social media, I've been able to see some work that was not licensed. And it's better than some people that have worked that I've seen was licensed.
That's so true.
So in our province, right now, it stands as buyer beware. That's what the government says. Buyer beware. So if you're not a good salon, honestly, will you really, just like a bad restaurant, oh, I wouldn't go there.
You're going to go back?
Yeah. Word of mouth. You just say, I wouldn't go there. And that restaurant, what happens in a few months later? It just folds. So it's being self-regulated. It really is, because it all is based on word of mouth. Back in the day, we didn't have social media. It was all just women talking to their friends, which worked just as effectively as what we have today. It was so just as effective. I built a clientele very quick. But if you're not good, you won't build that clientele, and the salons will close.
Yeah, your time is limited.
Yeah, I'm kind of on board with the whole, and you know what, makes us accountable. Just because I have a license doesn't mean I'm good. I'm not going to stand behind it, because it really doesn't mean anything. It's who you are and what you do. That's your license. So to me, that's where it counts.
I love that. I love that. That's so, so true. So what are kind of, what are some of the things that you're working on? Do you want to share anything that's kind of upcoming? Do you want to kind of talk about anything that you can talk about that might be coming up for people?
Yeah, I'm not a secretive person. So I do have some product coming out for 2018.
Ooh.
Just on the verge. We've been doing a lot of research and development on it, and learning about a lot of stuff and toning in what I want to see and what I think makes the job easier and what I think is good. And so we're releasing top quality stuff. And I'm not saying other brands aren't. I love working with other brands.
Yeah.
I'm giving someone else an offer of what I'm going to offer.
That's so exciting. So are you guys planning on doing that this summer or this fall, or when do you think you're going to be ready to launch it?
Probably inside of a month, we're going to do the first
Wow.
video about the first product. And
that's
then
so exciting.
We're going to snowball and go for the ride.
Cool.
Yeah,
well,
fun.
Congrats on that. That's a lot of work to do. I mean, even if you have the passion and the drive to create something, the actual process I know is very involved. So awesome.
Because I was going to do it sooner, but every step along the way, you learn something like, oh, great product, but the packaging really sucks. Turn it upside down for a week and see how it stands up. Oh, that didn't happen. So, packaging and presentation and product, of course, what's in the jar and how it dispenses, everything is so important. So I'm 53, so I should be rushing a little faster, but I think I'm in no rush. But we'll just, it'll come when it comes, and working every day on it. But I'm really excited about it. I can't wait to do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
And again, the online, where my husband is the whole brains behind all the production. The only thing I take care of is what we're doing, and maybe a little bit in the background, the colors, and what I'm wearing. My makeup was, how can I look better today? So that's what I take care of, and he does all the production. So what we're doing right now is we're getting ready for online courses, but we want to do them live, and we want to do them with the caliber and the quality that we have on the YouTube channel, which is very difficult to do when it's live, because the stuff that we do now is virtually live, but he makes it pretty, you know?
Yeah.
He, if I drop something, well, sometimes he leaves it in. If I sneeze, sometimes he leaves it in. But, the stuff that's boring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is but the music and the style and the graphics, those things take time. But we want to get that same quality with the live. So we're really working on that. We wanted to be ready with that months ago, but
that's so exciting.
We want to be right. Yeah. And then we try to figure out, because it's social media platform, how do we do it too?
Yeah.
It's one thing you're getting ready. Okay, I'm ready. Okay, where do we put it?
Where do we start?
How do we get people to know about it? So, learning. And I never really, I think I used YouTube a couple of times before I actually got on it. Just look for a recipe. Oh, how do I make this? That's what I did.
Yeah.
So it's a whole new world for me.
Well, and it's a lot of just experimentation. That's what people don't realize. It's a lot of hit or miss. You just put stuff out there, see what happens, try something different, see what happens. I think a lot of people think we have some kind of like mastermind, we know exactly what to do with our stuff. Selena and I actually talk about this a lot. It's like, no, half the time something random that we put out is like super popular. And we're like, are you kidding? That's like the dumbest video I've ever made. Okay, great.
I honestly, that is so true. I did the ombre like as a sponge, and I was having an off day, and I really did do that good of a job. It's one of my biggest videos, and I'm like, oh, it's so much better than that. But, you just got to learn from that. And like I say, I never planned any of this. So it maybe looks calculated, but none of it was. I'm just sort of, going with the flow and trying to deliver what they want and stay in tune, reading what they're looking for, and just really trying to relate to them. That's why I've come up with the product. I never in a million years would have ever thought of releasing my own line, let alone branding something.
Right.
But they are asking for it. So it's like, okay, they want it. Let's do it.
That's awesome.
I'm sort of going where they pull me.
I love that. And also one thing I wanted to ask you that I was thinking about while we've been talking is, so in our industry, we're primarily women, and women are not great about feeling confident, feeling comfortable, putting ourselves out there. What's some of the, what are some of the tips that you would have for harnessing that a little self-esteem and that little bit of, okay, just put it out there. Who cares what I look like? Who cares what's going on? Do your best and just put it out there for people to see. What would you say to nail techs who are really struggling with that?
Do it for you. I mean, I did this selfishly. I did this because I'm trying to promote my nail school. I didn't do it because, oh my goodness, they need so much information out there. And had I known, maybe that would have drawn me. But originally I did it for me to promote myself in the school. And, you know, maybe it comes to more of our physical as well, because my husband sometimes will say, oh, I could have done better lighting for you. When you shot that on Instagram, we could do better lighting, better an angle. And I just went, dear, I don't care. If I was a makeup person, okay, then I need to look better because, you know, this is makeup. But I do nails. It's not about my mug. It's not really about this, to a certain degree. I mean, but it's not
a little bit.
It's about the nails.
Yeah.
So this is the focus I try to make it on, is about, that's why we gather. You didn't gather, we didn't get together here because of any other reason other than the nails. That's why we're gathering. So we want to stay focused on that topic, and it is. And I think if anybody's wandering and thinking about all the other things that maybe you're not good enough doing, that's really their problem. It's really their issue. Of my niece, lovely girl, she said to me, all the girls at the shop one day were saying, oh, Sue, if you got like a little injections and like stuff in there, how great you'd look. And I said, oh, well, that's thanks, sweetie. She goes, you'd be so hot. And I'm like, okay, but I said, that's sweet, honey. I appreciate that. And they were kind of going at me and stuff. And then finally, don't you want to do that? Don't you want to do that? I said, honestly, honey, I'm not really concerned that I'm going to go through all that, because so that when you look at me, when you come into work, that you'll feel better because Auntie's lips are a little bit bigger, or she doesn't have the frown in her forehead anymore.
Right.
And then she said, but you just look, you look so much better. I said, I appreciate that. But honestly, it doesn't concern me so much about what you think totally when you look at me, how I should be presented. So to make you feel better.
There's more to it than that.
That's not my goal. So I don't mean to be blunt, but if you don't like your ugly auntie, don't look at me.
I love that, because it is one of those challenging things where oftentimes when you're going to get on camera, you're going to do something, you feel this pressure to be perfect. And I think that's why a lot of people don't even start in the first place. They just feel like, I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not well-spoken enough. I don't know what I'm going to say. And I think you find that as you go.
You're absolutely right. I'm not any of those things. I have terrible English. I'd never finished a sentence properly. And my background, I mean, I make everything look even, because I'm trying to make it look so uncluttered. Because if I had like bookshelves and the cat and the dog running in the back and my desk was cluttered with all my stuff on it, you wouldn't be able to focus on what the important thing is.
That's so true.
And we need to focus on that. And yeah, I try to make it look organized. It's also about presentation. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to, try to look like a slob or my salon be a mess, because presentation to a client is very important. So I treat it no different than when they come to the YouTube channel. It's much the same as when my client comes to me through that front door. Everything should look clean. It should smell nice. When she comes to the station, she was expected. Everybody addresses her. We speak kindly. The desk is clean so she can put her coffee there. We just want it to be clear and concise and look at its best, so that we can try to emulate that to make them feel good when they come in. So it is somewhat of an illusion, because I'm not a neat freak. I'm not.
I don't think any nail tech is. We're all hoarders. We love crap everywhere.
My nail station is like, is there a desk under there? Honestly. But maybe that's where creative minds are born. But my nail place where I'm doing on the YouTube channel, that's not where I keep all my stuff. I have a room that that's my art room, right? Where I just create stuff. Yeah. So here it's just presented as nice as I can. And of course, I'm going to do my hair. I'm going to try to make it look as presentable as possible, but it is what it is. And I'm focusing on the nails. Notice the pictures are all about the nails. I'm not doing this. It's not about me.
Yeah, I love that. No, I think that's really great. And I think that's something I've actually noticed about you without even really having a chance to talk to you a lot, is just you have this sense of inviting, confident, loving, warm, just let's have fun, let's learn about things, let's just hang out. And I think that is what really drives people to listen to you, is that you create that environment, not because you have the perfect shade of lipstick on or you have the perfect hairdo. It's really about what you're bringing to the table. And I think people need to realize that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, just let's keep our focus there and focus on what we're really working on, and just be happy with what you're doing, and That's what people are attracted to.
Yeah.
They're attracted to that you're passionate about your craft. That's what they're attracted to, is that you enjoy and you love your craft. Whether I have green eyes, blue eyes, a black eye, it doesn't really matter. It just matters how much fun we're having to learn. That's what it's about.
I think that's amazing. I think that's great advice. So I don't want to keep you too long, but I just love this. I love everything you have to say. I'm just like digging it. Everything you say, I'm like, yay, Suzie, this is amazing. So this will not be the last time we chat, because I just think you have such great things to offer up. And I'm so glad we did this, but I usually kind of close out every interview with, and you've shared a lot of advice during this podcast, but if there was one thing, today off the top of your head that you could think of that you would just offer up as personal advice to anyone who's going to watch this video, what would that be? And it can be anything.
Oh, anything?
It can be anything. It can be life. It can be love. It can be nail stuff. It can be whatever you want. What would you say is your thought right now of what you would tell everyone that's listening?
I would have to, I'm sure after we finish this and I say what I'm going to say, I'm going to go, oh, I should have said this.
Of course you will, but there's going to be another chance, so it's okay. Don't worry about it.
You know what? I think the most important thing is just, maybe corny, but just do you. Honestly.
I love that.
I mean, just be who you are, and those who appreciate it will pay attention, and those who don't will walk away. But that's okay. It's okay.
I love that.
You just enjoy you, and people will gravitate toward you.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
Very good advice, and very simple and straightforward. I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. I really, really, really appreciate you doing this with me, especially with your busy schedule. I hope you have a blast with Selena. I know you guys are going to have so much fun. And I can't wait to see what you guys put together.
I'm lazy. No, I get work done, but I'm not.
Yeah. No, but you just had a huge education week. And I wanted to ask you also, so for people that, I'm sure people are already familiar with your YouTube channel, but if they're not, Nail Career Education, you must check it out and subscribe to Suzie's channel. It's amazing. But also, how can they get in touch with you if they are interested in coming to train with you in person? What are some of the ways that people can get in touch with you for future things?
Yeah, they can go to workshop.nailcareer.com, and that'll get all the information that you need about the school, especially if you're long distance or farther away. If you are local, you can call Nail District, and that's in Victoria, and the girls will give you all the information. And you can email me to nailcareer@me.com. And I will answer any email if I can, if it's not too lengthy, but I try my best to answer all of them. And also questions on social media, Instagram. Instagram is Nail Career Education. So I just try to, there's so many ways that people can get a hold of me now, so I'm on everything all the time. But awesome. Yeah, those are the best ways to get a hold. And are you going to the International Beauty Show in June?
I am. So I will be at Premier Orlando. So I will see you there. We'll have to coordinate for that. And I will also be at IBS Las Vegas. So we'll have to see each other there if we can.
Okay. Are you doing interviews and stuff for everybody?
I am. So I'm going to be doing some interviews with the NTNA folks in Orlando and working with Nails Magazine a little bit. That'll be fun.
Nice.
But I'd love to chat again with you and sit down, and this has been a blast, and I'd really love to hang out with you in person. I think that'll be so great.
Yeah, I'd love to hook up. That'd be so much fun.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Suzie. Have a great weekend, and I'll be in touch again soon so we can hang out in Orlando.
You bet.
All right. Bye.
See you soon. Bye.